Are you a coder who gets rejected based on no practical experience or because others have a strong LinkedIn personal brand and you don't? Your coaching institute will hate me for doing this, but I welcome you to Code to Career 30 days challenge where I have chosen these 5 total strangers out of my LinkedIn contacts and have taken up the challenge to help them go from jobless or underpaid to well paid job, that too without additional degrees and certifications in the next 30 days. If you are a coder and wants to get a well paid job, this is your golden chance to experience real project implementation from scratch that gets you a well paid job and builds your LinkedIn personal brand and also resume for absolutely free. So why just watch? Get into our WhatsApp community to experience this. Link is in the description. Now let's get started. No, LinkedIn things and all those things. I can take technical things on LinkedIn and LinkedIn thing and other things, but if you have missed, you have missed. Yeah. Okay, let me open the document which I have prepared today. Mhm. So before that, anything with respect to the content that has been dealt till now, the technical content, are you clear like how we started? What were the things that we discussed? Then the introduction to the requirements as such, then the gradual progression from understanding requirements and trying to write what we think even before going to the tools and technology techniques like use case. We try to understand and we try to see and write what we understand from the requirements. No, your network is fine. So from there, we graduated to drawing those diagrams, elaborating them, conversations, CRC card, and sequence diagram. These all things created the raw material which we call, or I should not say raw material, but the material which we can call low level design document, high level design document. Then the only thing pending was that writing the code, right? Now I would like to understand how many of you really felt of all these things, writing the code was the toughest. How many of you felt like that? Okay. Abdul says yes. That's the toughest. Yeah, Ajay is also feeling that that's the toughest, writing the code. So Sheikh, was it easy to you?
Uh, Writing the code somewhat I feel difficulty, sir, but not with the aspect of sir, what I have to do. That was clear, but somewhere I got stuck with some kind of problems, like some kind of bugs, some kind of things like what I need to do with C competency. I got stuck, but later on I overcome through it by referring the C in-depth textbook, all those things. But yeah, I was clear with what the requirement is, what should be done, how it should need to parse the string coming, all those things. So before jumping into the code, all those things were clear in my mind. I have to do this and this and this thing. I divided already in the parts, and I just need to arrange the parts. That's easy. The code is easier for me.
Okay. So you are saying that coding was easy thing for you.
Not much easy, but yeah, somewhat it easy because I got clarity that what I need to do with the registration, what I need to do with the process, and it should be stored in some kind of array of structure and all those things. So I just need to arrange them. I'm not saying that it's totally easy, but I just need to arrange them with the conclusion what we have came from use case, sequential diagrams, and all those things that help me. If I gone somewhere wrong, I refer those things by seeing the videos and seeing opening my notebook, all those things. I got clarity with that, like uh, what I need to return, what all those things.
Okay. When writing the code, were you sure that you are covering all the cases, that it will work as per expectation?
By honestly, I must say that while I was writing, I put all those things and put a return value as one for everything that as it is all working. Later on time, I started adding like um, first I gone with taking the general input like help 1 2 for registration process. After that, when I'm coming into registration, I got little bit problem. Then I solve it. After that, on second day, I gone for process, all those things. So yeah, it I gone through what you say in a sequence like step by step manner, step by step program structure development. So it was easy for me. Yeah, it's cover every case. At the end, I got, but not at the what you say at the day one I got, but as the code is as our as my able to develop the code, I got the conclusion at the fourth day, third day, or that time.
Okay. When you were writing code for the first time based on a requirement, how much confident are you? What is the probability or the surety with which you said that now I write this piece of code, then this requirement is done? The question is, you have to write the code, you understood the requirement, and you said that I will write the code now. That the time I say I am done with the code, the requirement is also coded. How much clarity or confident were you at that point of time?
At beginning, sir, or at the fourth day or
At the
the
end
fifth?
only.
At
See,
the
at the end
end.
only, you say that, oh, okay, I'm done with the coding. Now it is as per the requirement. Were you 100% sure? Or is that, okay, if that case is that case covered, that is this case yet to be covered? If I test it with this limits, will this fail? See, now I'll tell you, your code is still not tested
Yeah,
for all the things. Yeah. Can you
yeah, sir.
release the code now? Can you release the code? Do you have the confidence that we can release the code?
No, sir, I still need to add login, sir, because I got stuck in the what do you
The
say
one which is
encryption.
done, the code which has been implemented, are you confident to release?
I need some time, sir. I need to check one or two other conditions. I put strings for to get the required
Yeah,
string.
that details are okay. Details are many. So you are
Yes,
saying that you invited me for dinner to your house, and you are saying that, Vamsi, wait. My brother is cutting vegetables. Yeah, rice is getting washed. Half an hour maybe is what you are saying. Then after you will say, after you will say, no, Vamsi, that onion was not there, so I have sent my brother to bring onion.
if you are asking about overall thing, yeah, it is. We need to test the negative cases because, as you told in our last when we are discussing mainly like I and Ajay and everyone was discussing about registration and process. You told that don't worry about the get parameter on those. Just test with the what you say with positive cases. Why you are worried? So I test with the positive cases. Yeah, I take care about
No,
the
I'm
all
not saying negative cases. I'm not saying positive cases. When somebody visits your house for a dinner or lunch, they don't really care like whether behind from the kitchen window some Swiggy person gave you the parcel or you prepared in your house. It doesn't matter, right? You put something on my plate, you call me for lunch, put something in my plate, right? Customer needs only that. Yeah. How ready are you with that aspect?
If you are talking me to release now, I'm not ready. But if you give me, as I told, then yeah, I'm not ready.
Yeah. If you again say so much, then customer will say, do it for free. I already paid you. So Priyanka, how confident are you?
I can release it.
Okay.
I mean, I know what cases I haven't covered.
Uh,
So whatever I have covered, that is good to go.
yeah, that is as per you. Who endorsed your code saying that it can go? Any test team? Customer did a pilot thing? Did you demonstrate?
No,
Then how can you be so sure?
I tested whatever I developed, the
Yeah,
positive or the negative
that's your
scenarios.
very safe environment. It will always work.
No, I tested for the negative scenarios also.
Okay. Okay. I sent, you received set. Okay. You received temp. Now 1 minute, 2 minutes. Value is not coming. What should the system do? Temp is yet to come. Before that, I let go the system and it said that, oh, this is not an invalid command. But somewhere the 50 is in journey or 25 is in journey. You're getting my point?
Yes,
Then,
it will stay there because nothing like timeout or any uh, handling for that kind of has been done.
yeah, that's why in your case, you are just giving a string so it will work. You assume that it is like that. Yes, that it is like that. But when the 50 will come, you don't know. And I'm talking about this in embedded environment, right? It can travel from somewhere. The user himself might not have given because we expect that the user is going to type or some device is going to get. There could be anything which you are not sure because what we test will be in our controlled environment and we say it is good. So calling out some extreme cases. Maybe a timeout is needed and all those things. Yeah. So to alleviate these kind of problems, just a moment. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. Okay. So, to alleviate these kind of problems, there is a method that came up called test driven development. How many of you know about test driven development? Did you hear?
I heard of,
Yeah, what
but
is
I didn't know what is. I heard like how the based on the user inputs, how it will be our program will behave.
you heard? Then why do you want to add something you heard and you want to tell it that I know kind of thing? It is always user who gives input, right? Someone the other will give the input. So I specifically asked how many of you know about it. I did not ask how many of you heard about it. Or did I ask how many of you heard about it?
Mm.
Yeah, these kind of answers may not go well in interviews. Yeah. And this is not, he's not picking you, Ajay, but I have seen this thing in interviews. And this is the FOMO because of which people buy so many courses. I had a conversation with one person. He was working in some medical devices, some IoT stuff and all those things. Somebody told him Bluetooth. He purchased a course from Udemy or something like. Started reading it. 1 week after, gave up. Someone told something like AutoZar or something, I don't know. He purchased that course. In a span of 3 months or 2 months, he purchased almost 7 to 8 courses. What do you think will be the situation of that person? Do you believe that that person is now going to the next stage of career advancement? Or do you think the chances are very less for him to go? That he will be still running on a hamster wheel, thinking that he is progressing, but nothing is happening. Which one do you think would be happening to him?
The second option.
And now on top of it, if the person is
He,
not ready to accept this, can any external help really give him a way?
Yes, sir.
Will it help? And he's not ready to accept that he is doing the thing which is causing harm to him. Same, this is another thing that is happening with people. That they pick on courses and all those things and they say that, do you think that is right or wrong? They are not ready to listen. They take things personally. Yeah, anyway, that's a different thing. So now let us go. Let me share the screen. This is a document I have prepared. Oh, it is not open still. Yeah, it got open. So beware of pitfalls that are seemingly okay with your life, but not adding any value. Now, this is the process that if you adopt after you having the complete idea of what is happening with the system, that in a document form, still you are yet to write code. I'm stopping there. You are done with your high level document and low level document. And now you are ready to put your fingers on the keyboard and let them dance. Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, left to you. But your fingers have to dance on the keyboard and characters have to come on the screen. In that process, this way of writing the code, which is test-driven development, it provides immediate feedback on the code being developed, allowing for quick correction and ensuring that the functionality meets requirement. I try to consolidate in these 14 pages, even a bit of code functionality also for easy recall. So let us start. We go with a little bit of introduction of test-driven development, the core principles, benefits, and challenges. Understanding understanding the provided code, which is the code that you already have. So I added this section specifically because the code which has been provided to you, maybe Priyanka has written and given to Princey, or you people have exchanged and all those things. Some key components and functions. The third important section is designing the test cases. So second section you can ignore. First section we will understand and then we will go to designing test cases. Then the next thing, developing features, you can ignore for now. Refactoring also you can ignore. So this document will be shared to you, which you can go later to understand about it. We are now going to deal with section 1 and section 3, which will give you a context. Tomorrow when you want to write a code, you go and write the code, but when you complete writing a functionality, you are done with it completely. The requirements are completely satisfied. You don't see any gap existing with that. You say to the client saying that this is the code, process command will not work, but your registration of the commands will work. Tomorrow I give another version where processing also will work, which may be that you can set and you can start activating all your devices and they will start working. After 1 week, I would be providing you another version through which you can start reading and then start showing in the dashboard and all those things. Because the customer is saying that, give me one thing because of which I want to first control my watering of the plants. After some time, I know I have a table which tells that at so and so time, this much amount of water has to be fed. And I am also knowledgeable of the environment and temperature outside. So the amount of water that has to be put to the plant, I'm aware of it. Maybe the humidity and the moisture in the soil and all those things, I am interested to get it. But at this point of time, not so important. Even next month also, you give me something because I also need to integrate certain sensors. It's a good proposition, right? Your product, at least it walked out of the door. You start getting revenue. Yes? Making sense? This kind of incremental thing where the process itself ensures that your requirements are very well addressed, that beauty can be achieved using test-driven development. It's a software approach where tests are written before the code that needs to be tested. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well-paid job, book a one-on-one call with me. Link is in the description. How it is, we'll directly jump to the test case. So this theory part you can read. But the important point to note is TDD is not a testing approach, but a comprehensive development strategy that guides the design and construction of your code. This is the most important thing. It's not a testing strategy. It's a development approach where testing comes before development. That's why it is called test-driven development. How it happens? See the core principles. TDD is based on a simple cycle known as red-green refactor cycle. Most of the time, refactor may not be so much needed for the kind of code that we write. Red and green ideally is sufficient. So write a test. In the red phase, what you do is you write a test case for the next bit of functionality you want to add. Then you run the test, which will obviously fail. We'll go through one test case, then you will understand what I'm saying. Because the functionality hasn't been implemented yet. The failure is a confirmation that your test is working correctly and that the new functionality is indeed needed. Now in the green phase, you write the minimum amount of code required to make the test pass. This step encourages simplicity and focus on functionality. Now you see, in the code that Sheikh has written, he is aware completely of the fact that, oh, I need to register the function. Sorry, I need to register the command. He is completely driven with that focused requirement that when he went ahead with the coding, he thought that, okay, let me first get it from external, then I will create I will malloc a structure of type this thing, then I will put, then I will have an array of this thing, then I will iterate. In the process, whenever he felt that, oh, I need to get this, maybe if in future I may have to use, maybe this flag will do this. I don't know, the thoughts might be going here and there because he is driven by the requirement. Some extra variables will come, some functionality which is not needed might get coded. But here you don't do that because you write that minimal amount of code required to make the test case pass. This step encourages simplicity and focus on functionality. So one structure, array of structures, one looping, storing there, done. He's not even thinking of any other factor which may unknowingly increase the code size. The aim is to pass the test with straightforward and clear code. Refactor is, once the test case passes, look at the code and consider if it can be improved without changing its functionality. That's it. Most of the times in a small embedded system, this is more than sufficient. These two steps are more than sufficient. In our example, let us say in a CLI kind of thing, if you say that, oh, linked list based kind of thing anyways requires malloc, I will not even take that approach. I will go with array based approach where I have an array of structures. I anyways said to myself, and customer is also aware that maximum 10 commands would be there. And that too, it's a enhancements that are going to come in future. For now, though, 4 or 5 commands are done. So very much all these things upfront. Yeah. So it might involves removing duplication. That's what I told, right? When you are running behind requirement, you may think that, oh, I need this code. Now what happens? Instance 1, day 1, you write some piece of code solving certain issue. You may not remember on day 5 that you had already written certain code which is similar in nature, may not be same. On day 5, you are driven by requirements so much, you are in that mood of solving that problem or coding that requirement. It might have slipped from your mind that something similar which was written few days back can be reused. Happens. So code duplication. Naming improvements. Especially if you see Shake's code, the namings can be improved. It was doing, but struct V is little bit difficult to understand, like what is struct V, or simplify complex logic. The tests are run again to ensure that the refactoring hasn't broken anything. Clear till now? Because now we'll go to the third stage where you will see one case, one example, and then it will make a lot of sense to you.
Sir, can you explain for red and green again? I understood the third one that it is nothing but we are optimizing it and checking the functionality again. So can you explain the red?
Optimizing is part of it.
Yeah,
Refactoring
yeah, sir.
is not always optimizing. Maybe it might also optimize the code. You can use an umbrella term called optimization, but contextually it may change. Red and green is something which you need to understand. So hold the text, hold the theory that I have told till now, so that we can go to the third section, test case 1. Okay, designing the test cases. In the context of test-driven development, designing effective test case is crucial for ensuring, okay, fine. Specific test cases that target its functionality comprehensively. These test cases will guide. Now see the here. Objective. You still did not start coding, okay? You are saying that, okay, I have to start now. So we know from the initial use case only that I have to go ahead and register a function. So I need to have an API which has to register the function. And by this time, bear in mind that I have already done with my high-level design document. I'm already done with my low-level design document where I know my command structure looks like this. You may pass a structure, or few people I have seen, I don't know, I think Ajay, and even I saw the document from Princey, Ajay and Princey. Yeah, where they were passing the individual parameters to the register function, right? Instead of a structure. So those kind of decisions are already sorted out. So verify that a command can be successfully registered in the system. Now you have only this requirement. So to that level where the individual parameters of the function, data needed, all those things are sorted out in the low-level design document. The flow is also known. You still did not write, but you are writing a test case. So the first test case that you write is objective of the test case. What are the steps to be done in the test case, and what is the expected result? If the command has been already registered, or when you register the command, it has to say that it is pass. Now, for the first time, when you are trying to query if there is a command there, then it will say that no, I don't have this command. So it is a negative case, right? See the red aspect. In the red stage, write a test case for the next bit of functionality. Now, the failure is a confirmation that the test is working correctly and the new functionality is indeed needed. So you have a command and you run the command by querying whether the command is there or not. But now you will say that the command is not present. Verify that a command can be successfully registered in the system. Now, how do you verify? Here, the step is attempt to register a valid command not already in the system. You're getting this point? We are trying to make an attempt to register a valid command not already in the system. If it is not registered, when I try to query, it will say that the command is not present, right? So the command should be successfully registered and the registration function returns pass. So now I go and write that small piece of code which will take my command and register in the system. The way you test might be different. For example, you hard code, let us say, you did not even write the register command function. You hard coded the structure only with all the attributes, right? I'm just throwing some ideas how that register command can return failure, that you have hard coded with all the unnecessary commands which are not at all needed. So it will say that, oh, this command is not found, which means this command has to be now registered. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one-on-one call with me. Link is in the description. Take, for example, help command. Help command has to be in the index 0, but in the index 0, I have put already some junk, some command, and I try to invoke help. Now, will the command fail or pass? Fail. Then I try to read the elements of some code I write, which will read the elements of 0th index. And I try to compare whether the string that is there in the field command is actually help or not. If that value is not 0, which means that it is indeed help, then I understand that the 0th index has some content, but it is actually not help, which is as per my requirement. Now I go and write some piece of code which will insert the help command in the 0th index. Are you getting? So that for the next time when the command really gets executed, it results in the command returning pass. Something like, is the 0th index having a structure called command and the command string is help? Let us say that's the question I ask to the system. And the system says yes, which means my test case passed. At the beginning only, I will first ask, is the position 0 where there is a command of, where there is a structure of kind command and the command is help. Is it present? It will say no. It is like in a school, the teacher is taking attendance. calls out a roll number, somebody says not present. Now the teacher may pause here and say that what happened. Then one of the students will come and say that person went to principal's room, or he is in the ground, or not feeling well. Some answer will come, right? Now if the person says that no, that person is there, madam, he will come, he went to bring notebooks or something. Then after some time when the person comes, I retake the attendance. So the respective person, student will say, I am present, right? Something similar. Not exact, but I hope it is making sense to you. You make an attempt to fail the test case, which is the red phase, and now you code that, you implement that incremental piece of code which will make the test case pass. So the number of test cases, the exhaustive nature of test cases that you have, the more closer are you towards the requirements. Because every requirement that is satisfied is a test case that gets passed. Any requirement that is not satisfied is a test case that fails. Now what you are doing? You are in fact making the test cases pass, which means you are actually implementing all the requirements. Then you say that my requirements are done. The advantage of this kind of thing is, so they have a test case I have mentioned here. Yeah. So the advantage of this kind of approach is that whenever you want to test, you can have an automation also. Now you see, download and integrate Unity. Unity is a test framework. Create a test runner script or using Unity's auto-generated one. Let us see one example. Command registration success. So unity.h, emcli.h, void setup. Set up the necessary preconditions for test. Tear down. Clean up after the test. Now the first thing is void test register command success. Test command, test interpreter, 0. Here this false is, in my structure, you should remember that I have a special command, right? Which you people have not added. Base type result is equal to register command test command. If the command is already registered, I would get the result that it is pass. If it is not, then I know that test command is yet to be registered. So I incrementally add the code which will add the test command. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well-paid job, book a one-on-one call with me. Link is in the description. This I can automate any number of times, right? Tomorrow some other changes come, then I actually run this Unity test framework to actually test. Now I need to have a mechanism, or I should actually go and collect the number of pass cases, which means that the new functionality has been implemented. So start with test cases. So this is how typically the process would be. You start with all the collection of test cases. You write those using this Unity framework, right? Automate them, run. First thing, everything will fail because nothing has been implemented. Some bare bones, some stuff you would have written because the low level document already had certain kind of things. Now you make one by one pass. So what you have to do at the end of the day, you said, if you say that I'm incrementally developing, at the end of the day, run the test framework again. Count the number of pass conditions. Those many are the requirements you would have already implemented. Because you started in the morning with all the test cases getting failed. Now you have few test cases returning by the automation framework as being passed. which means through your TDD, the incremental development, you have already implemented the required functionality. Maybe test case, test you have implemented, and get you have implemented. Set is still pending. Making sense now? None of the requirements will be missed. And the code will be very, very, very specific. Yeah. Clear so far? Any questions?
Sir, in industry where it is used, like agile methodology or waterfall.
I'm not aware of agile, gigile, and all those things, man. I understood. I was there in certain projects, but these are all new things. I picked up this methodology because when I was trying to understand how can I write a better code, then I stumbled upon this book called Test Driven Development in Embedded Systems, and I picked up. Even use case method and all the things are all that object-oriented stuff, but those were all the things that I picked up at different points of time from various companies, various projects, and they all helped me. So it is not in one shot, I can say that this is the thing and every project will have. But these are the things I had used at some point of time and it helped me a lot. See, at the
Sir,
end of the day,
you
it is all like you implement the code and satisfy the requirement in the least possible amount of time, and your code is giving less number of bugs. That's it. Rest all thing, nothing matters to customer. Customer is not going to reward you for the methodologies, this and all those things. He is only concerned with the quality of the code that you deliver. Yeah. Don't go by these words and all those things. Nobody cares on Agile. Just because you spoke Agile, nobody appreciates you. Get the code done and solve problem for me. That's what interviewer work asks. So pick up those kind of strategies and tools. Do not attach too much about, oh, this Agile, that, this. No. So the mindset always, which I believe that has helped me is, if there is a bug or there is a problem, I will not sleep until it gets solved. That's it. For that, I have to pick up some strategy which is new. Yeah, I spend extra time to understand if that is helping me to solve the problem quickly. That's it.
Sir, how can we know that this new strategy will going to help in solving our current issue or current bug?
All of your bugs are nothing but missed requirements. So you have a test case for that requirement that failed. So you write the test case. See, this is nothing new, man. This is because the testing phase has been put in front of development phase. That's it. Normally, people develop and they test and they get bugs. Then they add code to solve the bug. The problem now is there is already huge amount of code written to satisfy a requirement. Now you are adding something. It may fail. It may cause problem in some area of code. But now here, what is happening is you are writing that small amount of codes, requirement after requirement, then run the automation. If everything is proper, you will get all pass. And you know for what you get fail. Suddenly the one which was passed earlier because of your new code fails. Now you know something is wrong with your new code, right? That small code only. So you revert back or write it in a proper way. This incremental approach will reduce bugs by multifold. And this is only a thought process. That's what I'm saying. You should be very hungry. You should have that appetite to solve problems. Words don't matter. Results only matter. For that, if you want to solve the problem and get the result, if this strategy is not helping, pick up something which is helping you. For me, Out of so many things, that fifth chapter matters a lot in that book. That's it. C companion, fifth chapter matters. Rest all things, knowledge only. But fifth chapter he gave the method to start writing coding. Use case worked for me. Use case could be an object-oriented thing, but I use it in C also. I replace mentally that class with structure. So use case, then sequence diagram help. There are many UML diagrams. I don't care so much. Maybe tomorrow I feel a need, then I'll go and learn. Now during development phase, TDD helped me a lot. If I iterate this small, using these small steps, if I iterate, customer gave a requirement, I gave a quality code. Enough. Customer is happy. And I try to optimize this repeatedly because I do it repeatedly and I optimize it. Initially, I take 1 month to really understand this whole process and all the things. But over a few period of time, I make it just a matter of 1 week. Requirement came. I know what all are the things I need to do. I do it. 1 week, the code is ready. Along with the testing, test cases are also ready, which means even I don't need a tester, at least for my module. System testing and all the things might be there. But at my code level, the unit test cases are already ready. I move on to the next feature. By 2 months or 3 months, I would be churning out so many features that my manager is so happy. And I now go and ask, where's my increment? Where's my promotion? Can he deny or can she deny? They can't, right?
No, sir.
They can't.
Because you are bringing result, right? You can ask. So any question or questions?
Sir, we are developing the test cases based upon the functionality. What happens if the functionality have sub functionality? So it should have sub test cases also.
Functionality has tough functionality means?
Like this function, like in register, we have some other things also, like for testing whether this um, command is already registered, then what to do? If not registered, what to do? Like, so if examples, I am saying that if that functionality, our test case is nothing but it is related to one functionality, one test case. So what
Exactly.
happen if the functionality have again one or two sub functionality, then what will be our approach? In single test case, we need to define all those things, or we need to have sub test cases.
Better to have other sub-test cases because you are anyways implementing incrementally the code, right? See, every piece of code that you write, maybe 5 lines, 10 lines, would make one test case go to green state. Collection of these 5 to 6 small greens would be the big green signal that you want to see. Yeah. That is the granularity that you can go. See, these thought of these kind of things, right? Typically what happens, even in use case, I can tell you, or in sequence diagram, you overthink, you should state at some point of time, I am done. Otherwise, if you keep on thinking, you can get into this paralysis of analysis. I will analyze. How much you will analyze? You analyze until you get hold of the problem. Then start implementation. Same thing for is. To how granular will you break the test case? At some stage, you will say that this function returns pass, which means all the things are done. For example, let us say set temp 50. If the 50 value is set or the number is set and you are returning pass, good. Now I can go really below and say that what are the limits of the temperature? It can't be more than 75. It can't. Yeah, they all are corner cases. Do you want to implement? Nobody's saying you can't. But till how long? Till what depth? to the depth that it makes sense. Got my point? The boundary value is 75 to 100 degrees only. It cannot be 150. You want to make 150 as a test case and give it as a fail or something, it's up to you. Somebody will say unsigned, then signed, this, that. Depending on the data type only, you can create 7 to 8 test cases. But is it worth?
No, sir. At some point, we need to close the that thing. Like I
No,
need to
it's not.
conclude it.
It's not no or yes. It depends on to what depth you want to take. Sometimes it may be necessary, sometimes it may not be, is what I'm saying. So these are only methodologies. How you use them is up to you. It's like fire. Use it for cooking or go and do something different with it. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. Yeah. Because I know when people start learning these things, right, and they feel that their mind is really going, wow, man, I'm solving problems, super, they then we get overconfident and say, oh, let me use this, that, show off this, that. I've seen people like that. And my mentor told, stop. This is where you are entering that very hazy line between to what extent you can allow your thinking to go and to what extent you can say that I want to stop here. Because these are all paperwork only. Ultimately, code has to be there. Everything you say in the analysis part and all those things, there should be some code pertaining to it. If it is not there, then it does not make much sense. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. There need to be some full stop,
Logical stop. Yeah.
like in thinking.
That is very much needed. Because you can't give to customer HLD and LLD say that your project is done. Yeah. So this is done, test-driven development. And one of the important aspects of test-driven development also is documentation. This exhaustive documentation, right? And that's why documentation matters a lot. And documentation, I don't know now what are the big tools that are there to generate documentation. But in Linux, you have this the tool called Doxygen, Doxygen, where you write comments in a way that when you run this tool, it automatically generates documentation. But otherwise, it is always good to have it is always good to have some comment if you know that the comment is going to add value to whatever is there in the code. See, there are different schools of thought, man. If you start getting into this kind of things like how to write quality code, code quality, and all those things, people have written books and books and books and books. You will go mad reading these things. It all depends on how better you want to be as a software developer. And this really requires a lot of dedication, and you should feel it as something I want to do the best of the best works. It's a mindset. Many people are just enough saying that I saw that I coded, man, the bug solved, and they go away. I have corrected, not corrected actually. We have fixed certain bugs or maybe maintained that kind of code just because the person had to just satisfy the requirement and wrote the code. I don't know. You can never call it a code. It has no structure, nothing. This if trailing if else as this random switch cases. Some switch cases not even having a default case. Some cases already there in a group and the cases fall. Why it falls? No comment. We don't know. It was nightmare managing that code. And one of that code, when I was dealing in Germany as part of my assignment, we spent almost 1.5 months. Almost in the last 2 months before my coming, we were doing that, and we came up with the diagram, but the sequence diagram and everything. We did not get into the C++ part. We wanted to first write a C code and then test the functionality and move it to C++. The classes were all done, but we were waiting to first prove that our thing works. 2.5 to 3 months, we were spending a lot of time analyzing, because that code was very old legacy code, C code, written in the most. That time, maybe the developer thought that that's the best way. So I can't say anything about that person. But when we did now, we tried to do it in a way that it is now maintainable for the coming at least 5 to 6 years. 3.5, 4 months, we struggled a lot. 20 days code was done. C code. Got converted into C++ because that time my expertise with C++, even now it's not so big because I never worked on so much on C++. My German counterpart did some high level stuff. After, because the C functionality was already done, right? So the functions were need to be just pulled out and put into different classes, which he did. We were having the discussions, but I was understanding that, oh, okay, this function goes to as member function. This he has put it in this thing. That took hardly 4 to 5 days. Can you imagine? 3 months, we struggled a lot to understand the old code, that protocol specification, how that person has written this, that, and all those things, filtered out everything, prepared. What helped me during all the time was preparing that huge amount of documentation. So much. We wrote version 1, version 2, version 3. Same document. Next day, we used to see the code, something different. We used to understand something more. So add it. So on top of that protocol specification, we came up with 2 or 3 documents that I later understood that were used by many people after that. We wrote some document like unknown areas in this protocol specification, deep understanding of something. We name something because it is so much, right? They all were valid. And our code was also written in such a way that it was good with comments, structure was there, extensible, easy to integrate. That was the first thing. So I'll tell you a small use case, and after that, if you don't have any questions, we can conclude. I will tell you the case, how good software will actually solve big problems. So this is all about upgrading the dashboard. In dashboard, you have a dashboard unit, right? Where you have CD and all those things. I don't know what is called. In car, you have that all CDD navigation stuff. That time navigation was not having such a big screen, but this device was having it. Car dashboard unit. The thing was that mobile phone vendors used to provide their signature of their phone. Motorola releases a phone. So it has its own unique signature or certain things about it that the dashboard unit will recognize it as a Motorola phone and it gets paired. For this phone to be detected and connected to the dashboard unit so that the contacts can be synced, the songs can be synced and all those things, right? These people will provide a firmware, some file, which has to be flashed into the memory of the dashboard unit. And they send it as a file, or somehow they will send it, very secret thing, because it uniquely identifies that Motorola Razr, Motorola this phone, Android that phone, and all those things. That customer would be given all those supported phones as a CD. So the customer will include that CD and all the entries of CDs will be there. He will scroll down and he will say install. Then this particular firmware which uniquely identifies this phone, right, gets installed. So that the next time when you switch on the phone, you can pair the phone with the dashboard unit. So our code of communicating with the Bluetooth thing and all those things should automatically get integrated into the CD because you understand that the firmware is coming as a CD, right? So there is a bigger CD component which reads the CD. Then from there it handovers to the Bluetooth component because the firmware file is now found. So I have to flash the firmware chip, Bluetooth firmware chip. So from CD the user starts. He picks up the firmware file, which is the Bluetooth firmware file for a particular phone. That goes and programs the Bluetooth memory. Then I remove the CD. Now my phone can be seamlessly connected because now the Bluetooth chip got upgraded with my signature. Making sense, this use case? So our code should be good enough to get seamlessly integrated into the bigger CD component also. Other ecosystem. Earlier it was nightmare with the old code, right? It was nightmare to integrate it into this thing. And there was no CD based. First of all, there was no CD based thing. So we brought in the CD based Bluetooth firmware upgrade. Otherwise, what used to happen? The customer used to call saying that, or the vendor used to get a new phone released. Then the company used to get requirement. It used to go through all the people who had that thing. Then they come to the service station, and in the service station, there used to be a separate machine to which the dashboard unit gets connected, and then the firmware upgraded. Now that complete infrastructure is now removed. The user is given one CD. Through CD, you can flash the firmware. So much money saving. Can you imagine? The user does not have to walk into the service center, nothing. The CD will be sent to his home. It's like any song CD or something. He just has to install it. So much money saving, right? So good software will also solve complex problems. Any more questions? And this all should be backed up by good documentation. That's what I'm trying to tell. And in this TDD also, if you incorporate good practices like code review, yeah, you wrote it. It is satisfying the requirement. As a part of refactoring, right? You can include code reviews also. Because you said that optimization, right? So during optimization phase, you can have another person sitting by your side, which is a small piece of code, very quick review, need not be a very big formal review. Just called a meeting. People will come to your desk only, sit there, tuck, 5 to 10 minutes, those 20, 30 lines, critical functionality gets reviewed. Go back, change, again run the unit test, the test framework, pass, but now the code is reviewed, good to go, check in. So any more questions? Priyanka, making sense?
Yes, Vamsi. I don't have question.
Ajay?
No questions, sir. As of now, I don't have questions.
It is what is as of now, because today is the last day.
No, sir. For TTD,
No, this question is a generic thing. Because if you see, but before mentioning TDD, I retraced all the steps also, right? So anywhere you have some question, Abdul.
That is
no, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah, Sheikh. Please.
Sir, test review means, sir, it's related to the code functionality, or we are saying we changes we talk about the data structure, like I use same variable in different thing, instead of using other variable I use the same variable, or I before it should not go with other, it should not use by other functionality, I am putting some const or start is related to that, or I am using some other kind of logic or some other minimum thing. so that it become that, and I'm reviewing it. What actually reviewing it? What actually reviewing is called? Reviewing the code is called.
Reviewing the code is, you can take in a simple way that even you look at your code 100th time, the code that you write, you can't find any mistake in that because you have written, you get biased. Someone comes, maybe they will say, if they say saying that, oh, what is that variable mean? You say variable I. He will say that, see, the variable naming I here is bit confusing. Why not you name it like this? It can be so simple like that. And to also something like, what if you this happens in this function? Did you handle it? To even change in an algorithm also. You are using this algorithm, this will take more time. Try with that algorithm. But the philosophy does not change. The philosophy does not change in the sense, as per TDD, with the old algorithm that you have written, you are getting the requirement satisfied. The pass is coming. Now with the new algorithm, you again rerun the test and you have to ensure that you get the pass. So code reviews can be done. Typically in code reviews, what happens in big companies, we have something called as code review checklist. So there will be a checklist. So you need to write code as per that checklist. And now if I have to really tell you, the checklist actually most of the times will come from coding guidelines. So these are all various aspects of software development which ensure that the code quality is maintained. So one of the popular coding guidelines that people always talk about is Misrasi. They say Misrasi. And there are many others like that. Some security stuff, this, that, and all those things. Companies can write their own security coding guidelines. Some teams come up with their own coding guidelines. Like we came up with our own coding guidelines also. The way the functions have to be named, variables have to be named.
Sir, what is Misra C? What is that?
It is one of the coding guidelines.
Okay, sir, understood.
It's a industry standard coding guidelines. I think for automotive.
Understood. Sir, yeah, one more question, sir. It is very much required for to become a successful embedded software developer to understand C++ along with C, or it is okay to have only with C with a minimum knowledge of C++, like a little knowledge of C++ along with C, or I need to know both in depth.
For me, even C, I don't know in depth. I can write code in C. C++ code, I understand, I can write a little bit. Python, I can read and understand. I can't write so much in Python, but Python, huge amount of code also I can understand and all those things. I was never against any language, or I was not for any language. So for me, it was always like, if the project is in C, then it requires the problem to be solved in C. But sometimes some projects were in C++. I made best efforts to understand what this code is and all those things. That time I picked up some knowledge of C++, and yes, I read using some books. The point I believe, I feel very strongly is, whichever is the language, the competency of the language can only increase if you are every day using it. But the fundamentals I told with respect to use case diagrams or any other methodology to create software, right? This is actually language agnostic. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. So be open to accept any language that the project requires. And this is one thing I see in LinkedIn so much. I don't know, people are passionate about this embedded C, that, this. Was all the problems. First and foremost, And I think the final thing also is you should be a problem solver, period. And when I say problem solver, not be a person who is dogmatic about come whatever may, I have to solve the problem in my own way. No, that is not, that is completely wrong. That's not being humble, that's actually arrogance. Within your project requirements and the needs of the project, the language the project is in, the rules and regulations, the boundaries that are set, be a good problem solver. Learn all the things needed to solve the problem efficiently, ultimately keeping in mind the end user who is the customer. You remember one of the posts I have put saying that it's all user centric. Use cases are all about serving the user. It's from the user requirement that you have to write. From that perspective, you have to see how efficiently can I solve. It is okay to lift heavy load and use that complicated code for you to really implement, but which makes the user interaction or the usage by the user very simple. Go for it if it is possible. As much as you make life of the user and the end customer happy, the more success will be your product. And ultimately, businesses are all about that. So if you go higher and higher, right, people will say that customer centricity, customer focus, this is what is the thing. And you should have a relentless pursuit of making the customer as happy as possible, because he is the one who is giving you money. That's where the business is. These all are tied with one another, and this is the mindset and attitude. Anyone who goes against these laws, law and not LOSS, laws, LAWS, right? In interview, we can find out is that person having an attitude of listening, understand, solve, have an empathy to solve for customer the solution. I mean, here to the problem of the customer and solve it. It cannot be always my way or highway. You should be able to come sideways also if it is needed as per the project. Otherwise, it's a tough thing. For complex problems, right? If you have people with attitude, working with them is very tough, man. Very, very tough. And nobody likes them. And those are the people I have seen in my career getting stuck. In a big way, I have seen people with 8 to 10 years of experience, they were not given hike, but somebody who is a fresher, ready to listen, having this attitude of solving problems, I have recommended them for what is that, promotion or anything, because I am their mentor and I brought them to a level where they are contributing to the project. I told this person of 8 years such a attitude that I had to spend a lot of time, and most of the times I thought I should not give it to him, and I did few times, but never with this junior, because he was ready to accept, learn. So all these things matter, not just writing code. Writing code is one part. Okay.
Yes, sir, understood. If we are stuck somewhere, we need to accept it and we need to learn it. How can we solve it more efficient manner? And we need to proceed again. We can't do everything by our own way. I understood this thing.
Yeah, that is true. Great then. So let me. Tomorrow we don't have, Sunday we don't have. Maybe you can make use of time to relook at all the videos that are there. 19th, I may be in travel. If I am there on travel, then we'll go to 20th. Yeah. Because my travel is now in limbo state because my son is in hospital still. So we are thinking that he will get discharged at least on Sunday. Then we may travel. Yeah.
What will be the next class about?
Next class is about, I thought whatever I have to tell, it's already has come. So it will be like hi, bye. Talia bajao. Go out with flying colors.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have anything specific in your mind? Do you have anything in your
No,
mind?
I think we covered. We
Sorry?
covered like we covered the agenda of this 1 month, I think.
Yeah. Maybe why don't we
Yeah.
put that on that day some retrospection like what happened and how some hard facts we talk about related to honesty and was I really genuine in my efforts? Those kind of things we can talk about so that, and I can talk about certain enhancements also to the code, which are easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it may the project really becomes. And attaching a shell to this CLI infra is very, very easy. I'll give an idea as to how to do it. If you want to work with me personally, where I guarantee to work with you until you secure a well paid job, book a one on one call with me. Link is in the description. And I wish if you implement it, it will be like a shell, proper like a shell. You will get a prompt also. If you on a serial console, you will get a prompt, and now you can route it through one single pipe through different commands that CLI infra takes, and from there it goes to backend. So imagine like this backend, then you have CLI infra with all those commands. You have a single pipe connecting to the application, which is the shell with all the other semantics like you can control C, this, that, and all those things. And it is good to have, you can, because what it requires at the physical level is still TXRX only. So you can think of shell as one more thing on top of it. And this complete setting, right? It can very easily sit as a task on in an RTOS environment. There can be many different tasks, but this is one task through which the user can enter and get the complete state of system. This is super good use case. And many devices actually have this at varying complexities. But this can be a very simple thing. And this will give you also an understanding like, oh, at the end of the day, the shell is this much. Okay, I thought it is so much. No, it is not so much, it is only this much. Yeah. Okay, then. See you all on Monday or Tuesday. I will let you know. By the time, have conversations and try to reach some level where you all feel comfortable that going forward, you will go to the level that you are aspiring. You go the things loose, you let go the things loose, you will lose it. Okay? Bye.
Bye. Thank you.